city of lakes, Udaipur. On Monday, my colleague Amitabh Singh gets you the details.
Day 2 of the G20 Sherpa meetings began in Udaipur on Monday. The G20 Sherpas deliberated on 5 key themes. The focus was on technological transformation, green development and lifestyle for environment, accelerated, inclusive and resilient growth, multilateralism and the 3 F's of food, fuel and fertilizers, basically the energy and food security, women-led development, tourism and culture, also cyber security were other issues that were deliberated upon.
The digital economy, we've focused on digital public infrastructure, quite a bit on our own experience of creating digital identities for everyone, creating bank accounts, which has enabled us to lift vast segments of our population above the poverty line through direct benefit transfer and fast payments. We do a huge number of fast payments. We've created a vast number of public goods and therefore public digital platforms and cyber security and cyber safety, which is, to our mind, will be very critical in the digital economy of tomorrow.
The session on technological transformation was held with the working groups on digital economy, health and education. The focus of the other session was to bring the agenda on accelerating progress on the SDGs or the Sustainable Development Goals on center stage. India tried to take forward its key priorities, including promoting life and the use of data for development in the Development Working Group.
We'll talk about prevention, preparedness and response for health emergencies, digital health for universal access and improved service delivery, and strengthening cooperation for vaccine therapeutics and diagnostics. These are all the issues we brought out in our issue notes, and on education issue note we brought out foundational literacy and numeracy, strengthening research and innovation, tech-enabled learning, and the future of work, which is very critical. And on the culture side, we've talked about protection and restitution of cultural property, culture for sustainable living, creating economy, and how do you leverage information communication technology for preservation of culture.
Apart from the substantive discussions, there was a cultural aspect to this meeting, where the visiting Sherpas and their delegations tied the traditional Rajasthani safa and wore the Jaipuri jackets. The delegates experienced Rajasthan in traditional Indian jackets, Rajasthani turbans and stoles at the Manik Chowk, the largest man-made courtyard in Rajasthan.
Magical, really magical. I really enjoy being here, and the chairing of the presidency, they're really doing a great job. And it's not only about the cultural part, it's also about the content, and they're preparing their agenda very well. And we're looking forward for the whole full presidency of India.
Amazing, amazing. I don't think I've ever had that much cloth around my head, and it feels interesting, and I haven't seen even what I look like. But yes,
no, we really want to thank the Indian presidency, Rajasthan authorities, because they are making us feel so welcome, including letting us wear your beautiful clothes after having given us such a warm welcome. We had music yesterday, we have enjoyed amazing food.
It's been quite enlightening. I think having a bit of cultural diplomacy in the G20 is very important to foster understanding. So we've seen the beautiful architecture, the cuisine that we had last night, and also lunch today.
India's presidency of the G20 to be able to highlight India's developmental achievements, India's tourism potential, India's cultural heritage and diversity, and what you see is part of that. The Prime Minister has talked about, as I said, an impeccable and uniquely Indian presidency. And we have a very uniquely Indian imprint today in the tying of safas, being in a traditional attire, eating bajre ka roti in the Mewadi style, very not just regional but absolutely food which is linked with the Mewad region of Rajasthan. So this is the sort of, I would say, presentation that you would expect in every place. Every part of India you go.
After the intense deliberations, the Sherpas had an informal interaction over cups of warm chai or tea at Chai Pe Charcha, making the most of a truly Indian experience. The Chai Pe Charcha took place overlooking the sunset on the stunning Lake Pichola. Though some divisive and contentious issues like the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war did come up in the conversations, especially in the context of food and energy security, but India's thrust was for working together, putting a collective effort in solving one of the most pressing issues that the world faces today, especially for those whose need is the greatest, thus signaling that India's presidency would be about hope, harmony, healing and oneness of all. With cameraman YK Loknath, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Udaipur.
And as the first session of G20 Sherpa meetings marks its beginning in Udaipur, Rajasthan, the G20 Sherpas lauded the efforts of India, pinning high hopes on Indian G20 presidency. The Sherpas of Argentina, Jorge Arguello, hailed the immersive atmosphere of Udaipur with the vibrant hues of Indian culture.
What I think is that India is accomplishing its target because we are being immersed in the Indian culture, the Indian spirituality, the Indian identity, and I think that's very important. So we are all, the 20 Sherpas that came from 20 different countries all over the world, we are all learning a lot about the Indian traditions and culture. Take into account that the last presidency of the G20 was Indonesia. Now is India. The next year will be Brazil. After Brazil it will be South Africa. So we are talking about 4 southern countries, 4 emerging countries of the G20. That says a lot. It's saying in a clear manner that the global south have a role to be played within the international agenda.
The G20 Sherpa of Indonesia, while lauding the Indian presidency, said that India has carried forward the agenda of G20 further. He added that Indonesia will continue to support India in its efforts to take forward the initiatives of G20.
Both of us, India and Indonesia, are close friends. We have been working closely together in many issues, and I'm quite happy that India is taking over from our presidencies because the agenda is developing countries' agenda. And I think I have full trust in my friend Amitabh, the Sherpa of India, to follow through on what we have been working together closely. And rest assured that Indonesia will continue to support India in its presidencies of this year.
All right, changing track now. India, Central Asia's